All such creation is non-different from consciousness, like fragrance and flower, yet they appear to be different. Like fragrance and flower. Let's have a look at what's meant by flower. I'll begin with the dictionary definition first. Flower. A growth comprising the reproductive organs of seed plants, the blossom of a plant or the state of being in blossom, any plant that produces blossoms. So it's a growth comprising the reproductive organs of seed plants. I think that's the basic definition. And then there's flower in the sense of blossoming, when something flowers. That is an abstract idea. And if you haven't got a flower in front of you right now, all you've got is the idea of a flower. But if we did have a flower in front of us right now, then what we're experiencing is perhaps the scent, if it's got a scent, the fragrance. We could touch it. There's various textures. We don't really normally hear a flower. We can see it in terms of its colour. In other words, a flower is a particular combination of sensory experiences. That's all it is. We experience other objects with similar sets of experiences, we group them together, and then eventually, after they've been studied by scientists, they might come up with a scientific definition. And this is quite a scientific definition, isn't it? The reproductive organs. A growth comprising the reproductive organs of seed plants. If you'd never seen a flower before, that definition would tell you nothing, wouldn't it? It would tell you nothing. But really, is our flower any separate from the actual experiencing of a flower, from the flower's characteristics like its fragrance? Fragrance is part of the reality of a flower. It's non-different from it. And yet we could say the flower is an idea, it's a notion, and the only reality is the fragrance. The fragrance is what gives rise to the idea. The fragrance and the texture and so on, these are what give rise to the idea of a flower. And this is like consciousness and creation. Consciousness is the reality, and creation is the bundle of notions that we form, which we somehow think of as more real. We actually think our definition of a flower is probably more real than the fragrance of a flower, because the definition is scientific. So we make that the reality, don't we? We make that the reality. And the same with creation and consciousness. For creation, we should use the expression world appearance, or the idea of a world out there, and a me in that world. These are notions. Notions which we've abstracted from the reality right now of the stream of experiencing. Their appearance in the infinite consciousness is illusory. Since they are apprehended by the notions that arise in every observer, they are experienced in accordance with those notions. In the yogis, these notions are greatly weakened, and therefore they see the truth, and their statements are close to the truth. It can't be anything else but close to the truth, because the truth cannot be expressed exactly in words. In the case of the others, their declarations are coloured by their own notions or mental conditioning. So it's all about our notions. What notions do we have? What reality do we ascribe to our notions? How important are our notions to us? You maybe don't want to let your notions go. That's up to you. But when you touch your awareness, or when awareness touches itself, then we realize that it's only notions, it's only ideas. Ideas are powerful though, aren't they? Ideas of money, ideas of political utopia, ideas of love, ideas of family. They're strong ideas. But what's the reality? Oram, time sets the worlds in motion, and in them the fictitious I, you, they, there, and thus. All this is but one pure infinite consciousness, which is supreme peace, uncreated and undecaying. This is the Lord, the Self. How and in whom do desire and all the rest of it arise? We can still live in accordance with our notions. It's rather like playing a game. It's a bit disturbing when you're playing a game and you've got to pretend it's real. But once you know it's a game, you can play it with gusto. It becomes much more enjoyable. There's nothing quite as offensive as being told to take the game seriously.